Hello and welcome to ESC Fan TV. We've got an action-packed show for you this evening. We're going to be looking at the semi-final allocation draw. We're going to be looking at the runners and riders for Norway, and also we're going to be taking a look at Portugal's entries as well. And you never know, we might have time just to fit in a glance at the Czech entry, which was announced earlier today. As always, I have the panel with me, and let's start off with my co-host. Good evening, Stuart.
Good evening, Tom. How are you this evening?
Oh, not so bad, not so bad. I'm looking forward to the snow, actually. Apparently.
The snow?
Yeah.
We know like snow on the south of England. Tonight's show, though, Tom, what a fantastic show it's going to be. We've got some great songs to cover.
There is going to be some absolutely fantastic stuff there. And if you're thinking to yourself, just get on with the show, that's fine. Take a couple of minutes, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Okay, go visit Facebook, go visit Insta, like us on there as well. Also on the panel this evening, I've got Nicholas.
Hello.
We've got from Let Me Be The One blog and radio show, Martin.
Hi, everyone.
We've got Yerna.
Hi.
We've got Joe.
Hi, everyone.
And we have a newbie as well. Welcome, David.
Hola, buenas noches. Hello, good evening, everyone.
And David joins us from Portugal as well, which just seems very apt, doesn't it? So, on with today's show. Earlier today in Tel Aviv, the semi-final allocation draw took place. For those of you interested about what the UK is going to be doing, obviously, as a member of the Big Five, the UK gets assigned a semi-final to vote in, and they're going to be in semi-final 2. They're going to be joined with Germany, and they're going to also be joined with, and it's on the tip of my tongue, Stuart, help me out here. It's Germany and Italy, that's the one. Yeah. While Spain, France, and Israel are voting in semi-final 2.
Spain, Israel.
Yeah. So, looking at the draw, obviously the draw is there to make countries keep the voting countries separate. People like Greece and Cyprus, Finland and Estonia. But looking at the draw, have we got any obvious winners? Let's take Joe. Can you spot any obvious winners from this semi-final allocation draw? Semi-final 1.
Semi-final 1, I think we're going to see Ukraine qualify, no matter what they send, and Australia, I think, because Australia's got a couple of good friends in there to vote with them. Apart from, they haven't got Sweden. Sweden normally vote for Australia as well, don't they? And I think, Cyprus and Greece. So let's see who has the better entry at the two of them to get the votes there. There's a lot of pals. Let's see, we've got Finland and Estonia as well. So I think Estonia might go through as well.
Now, I noticed one country you've not mentioned there is Belgium. Now, Yerna, Belgium's been drawn the second half of semi-final 1. We know they've already selected Elliot to represent them. What are we thinking? Are we happy with the draw? Are we thinking?
Yes, I'm happy with the draw.
Qualification certain?
Excuse me?
Are you going to get qualification this year from the semi-final?
I think so. Because all of the fans here in Belgium, they wanted second half. So we got that already. But then, we don't have our friend, the Netherlands, with us. But we do have some countries that give us high votes, like Australia, Poland. They always give us points. And sometimes Portugal as well. But you never know. You have to wait for all the songs. But I think we have a good chance of qualifying this year. And I think, almost certain that Ukraine will qualify because they always do. So it's my favorite Eurovision country.
I was going to say Ukraine do have a 100% qualification record, and Australia. Yes. They are the only two countries in this semi.
Australia only participated 4 times, so
I know.
Like Ukraine has a better qualification rate in that sense, you know, because they are participating since 2003. But yeah, it's my favorite Eurovision country. I almost have them every year in my top 10, except for 2017.
You are providing me with a little segue here, Jana, because Ukraine obviously took a year off. And as did Portugal. To be a Portuguese Eurovision fan at the moment, Portugal took a year off in 2016. They came in 2017 and just thumped the competition. Salvador with his song. And then last year, O Jardim just didn't really set the scoreboard alight. This year, they're back in the semi-finals. They're in semi-final 1. They're also in the second half. David, what do you think Portugal's chances are based on the semi-final allocation this year?
I think the first semi-final is statistical week is very accessible for us because, for example, I think the only big countries is Ukraine, Australia, and we got examples of Greece and Cyprus, of course. But we got some countries who give them a good amount of points. We have a good help also with the big five with Spain and France voting for us also as well. And also the second half, I think for us, is more accessible because also we have a good amount of countries who gives a good amount of points for us. And I think because if our Portuguese diaspora is very emerging in Europe, I think we can get a good result on the semi-final 1.
Yeah, I shall have my fingers crossed for you. Now, a couple of other countries that I'd like to point out for semi-final 1, and I'm going to hand over to my co-host Stuart on this one. San Marino, we've said, is going to be represented by Serhat. They've got the second half of semi-final 1. Could this be their second qualification in 10 years?
No, Serhat is absolutely fucked. He's got no hope.
You gotta believe. You gotta believe in him.
Hey, last week I said I'm on the Serhat train. I think this, unfortunately, the train has well and truly been parked at the station. This is a terrible draw for San Marino.
Yes, no Italy.
And Martin, Czech Republic have been drawn semi-final 1 as well. First half. Is this going to hinder or help Lake Malawi's chances?
Depends. I think depending on what else comes up in first half, they might well be opening. They might well be the first act in 2019 Eurovision with semi-final 1, purely because it's what it is, up-tempo song. I mean, Czech Republic, I never know who actually would be their friends. They have lots of people around them, but they never seem to get the votes from them. So, there's no Germany in that side, and not even Italy or Austria. None of the real neighbours near them are actually in semi-final 1. So, but you can never tell. You can never tell at this stage. I mean, we only know 3 songs. Friend of a Friend could be the top 3. Could be the best song in semi-final 1. It's unlikely, but it could be.
The other one to just draw attention to, Belarus, first half, semi-final 1 again. They seem to be hitting a trend on this one.
So,
Stuart, what are we thinking?
And not even Italy or Austria. None of the real neighbours.
Yeah, can you hear me, Tom?
I can hear you.
We've got a bit of feedback. I think one of the guests may be playing the broadcast. Can you pause that?
Can I put our second?
Top 3 could be the best song. Sounds like me.
Someone's pressed play. Excellent.
Can
Thank you very much. We're back. Sorry, Tom. Repeat the question.
Can I put a consideration?
They seem to be hitting a trend on this one. Right. What I was saying was Belarus have got the first half of the semi-final again. They seem to be making a habit of appearing in the first semi-final. Do you think they're going to qualify this year, Stuart?
They have a very terrible record, Belarus, don't they? And they were drawn second in semi-final 1 today. So in the first half, and I mean, I love Belarus. Belarus is always on my mind, but I just think this is the year where Belarus may be left behind. That rhymed. That was fantastic.
Hey.
It's almost like someone wrote a song about it.
Yeah, quite honestly, I think Belarus have to really send through a banger this year, and you know, I'm hopeful.
You're hoping they're going to work their magic.
Oh, great reference to Cauldron.
Well, what can we say? Moving on to semi-final 2. Obviously, the obvious person to go to straight away here is Nicholas. Denmark, they've been drawn in the first half of semi-final 2. There's a lot of other nearby neighbours there for Denmark. Are you happy with the draw?
Yeah, I think it's good. Of course, you could have always wanted the second half of the second semifinal, but no, it's great. It's great to have Denmark, Sweden, and Norway together. That's always nice. But it is a bit of an unfair semifinal in some way. There are lots of friendly countries. We have Denmark, Sweden, Norway. We have Russia, Azerbaijan, and Moldova together. So there's definitely a lot of countries that vote for each other here. I think the big favorites for this semifinal, just looking at it, especially looking at the second half, we got Russia, which is, they're in it to win it this year. There's no doubt about that. So I think they're pretty happy with their placing. Azerbaijan had a pretty good track record before falling out in the semis in 2018. So I think they can definitely benefit from this placing as well. I think Malta, I really love the singer from Malta. Really adore her, and Malta has the UK to help them. So yeah, I think those are some of the countries, and I think we'll really see the Nordics dominate this semi along with Russia and Azerbaijan.
And it's interesting to note that the only country with a 100% qualification record in that semi-final is Sweden. For recent years, obviously they last failed to qualify in 2010, but Russia, Azerbaijan, and Romania all lost their qualification record last year. So let's go to Martin. Are you thinking that, you know, Russia, Azerbaijan, and Romania are going to be looking to pull one over Sweden this year, or are Sweden unassailable?
Yeah, I wouldn't. Well, I think Sweden are really always going to be there or there, but they're going to be through. I can't imagine that they're going to send anything that would mean that they wouldn't get through to the final now. I think it's so ingrained that the juries love them, and that enough of the televoters love it that they will go through. I mean, United, we're voting in this one, so I suspect we normally give reasonable marks to Sweden as well. So yeah, I suspect all 4 of those will go through. I think Azerbaijan's going to, Azerbaijan, Romania, and Russia are all going to make sure this year what happened last year is not going to happen again.
And David, some people have said on the internet chat I've been reading today that this group this year is the group of death, where basically there could be some massive shocks. What's your take on that?
Semi-final with that, I can agree with is a semi-final with that, because of course with this big countries, Sweden is obviously the shark of the last almost 10 years, and also Russia is trying to be very good in terms of song quality. Romania, I have a question about Romania, because sometimes they didn't select like good choice, but they got through. But I'm very curious also what Sweden they got sent during Melodi Festival, but I have to say I have big questions about Azerbaijan because of the Armenia situation, because they are put together. But I think without that, I think they have a good chance of qualification. I had to point out, and this can be a little bit of a losing point. Macedonia again draw in 1 second half of semi-final. I hope they won't get the number they always get.
Well, we can hope. I'll have my fingers crossed for them. Now, Stuart, let's look at your take on this. Ireland last year, they qualified for the first time in so long. The Irish delegation were absolutely cock-a-hoop with this. Are they going to do it again?
Well, they've only qualified 5 times in 10 years. They've struggled, it's fair to say, but then I think the UK would struggle if we were in the semi-finals. And I've seen many comments today about the Big Five, but let's leave that for another time, because I hate that argument.
Yeah.
But I do think Ireland, they're in a comfortable position because the UK can vote in this semi-final. I think that's the first point.
Yeah.
Although it might just be the UK that votes. So unless they send an absolute quality song like they said last year, then they may struggle. They may struggle. The same for Switzerland. Switzerland have only qualified 2 times in 10 years.
Yes.
You know, they should equally be really concerned, I would think. Especially both Ireland and Switzerland are in the first half of the second semi-final, which could be tricky.
And interesting to note that Switzerland did request to be in the second semi-final, which is approved by the EU reference group today. Now, the final country I just want to devote a tiny bit of time to, just before we move on to looking at their entries, is Norway. Last year, Norway claimed a record that perhaps maybe they didn't want to hold. They won the second semi-final, came first, but when it came to the grand final, they dropped down to 15th, the lowest placing for a semi-final winner. Jørna, will Norway do any better this year?
Well, I've listened to the songs and I have a few favorites. I think Norway, if they select the right one for me, they can qualify. I don't know if they're gonna do any better. I have one really big favorite, and if they send this, they can end up in the top 10.
Well, yeah, no, we are moving on to Norway's entries, so let's not keep us in suspense. What are your top 3?
Well, my top 3. Let's get my top. Just a sec. My top 3 on 3rd place is Keino with Spirit in the Sky. I really like this one. It's a special song. Yeah, good for radio and stuff. It's my 3rd place. 2nd is Morland, the only song in Norwegian. And I kind of like it because I always liked his style. Like the song from 2015 was one of my favorites as well. And this is, it's something in that trend. So I really like it. But my number 1 is Anna-Lisa Kumoji, I think, with the song Halle. That's the winner for me because it's really 2019. It's trendy. If they send this, they can end up in the top 10. I really, really like it.
So contemporary, up to date with 2019. What we describe as a banger, wouldn't we, Stuart?
We would, yeah. I mean that song that they've got, Keino, Spirit in the Sky, is, I mean, that's something else. I listened to that the other day, and I immediately thought this is Monsters from Finland rehashed. But it's not. I was wrong. It's not Monsters at all. It's far, far better than Monsters. It's got everything you'd want from a dance song. I mean, we're going to hear this we're going to hear this from the Norwegians for years. Every Euro club will play this song. This is going to be the next banger for 2019. But that's actually not my favourite, Tom.
Go on, do tell.
My favourite is Ingrid Berg Mohus. I've probably pronounced that incorrectly, with the song Feel. It starts off a bit Kylie, and then it gradually merges into Elf Dance from 2006. And I was a big fan of the lady in 2006. I'm still a big fan of the lady from 2006. I'm a big fan of Kylie. So what's not to love about this combo? It's fantastic. She plays violin, which features in the entry. It becomes mid-tempo halfway through. I mean, there's even sort of there's kind of there's vibes of Dance Again from Macedonia from a few years back too. So those two songs for me are the best two. Third one, I would probably go to Moreland, because I don't think you can look beyond Moreland really, and it's a fantastic song. He has also written, I think, one of the other songs as well in that final too. So he's got a couple of sort of goes at this, but his song is incredible. It's just not my favorite, but I know people that love this song. Damn Good, who's been complaining that we've not got to the songs quicker in the chat room. Shout out to Damn Good. You can't have everything in life, Dan, but thanks for your comments. He also likes Moreland. And just a shout out to a couple of comments in the chat room. ESC NL says who's Yerna? And then I replied, said she, well, where's Yerna from? She's from Belgium. I think he's got the hots for you, Yerna. Just putting that out there.
Yeah.
Elliot in the chat room says Kino is a great song and would probably close the semi-final if Norway was selected. And yeah, that's what we got. You take that back, Stuart. Monsters is a great song. Sorry, just my opinion. I'm not a Sarah Alto fan.
Oh,
Me neither.
and yet the song was so good last year, and I still sing it when I listen to Kino. I can still hear that, bit. I was like, I don't wanna, oh yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Tom, I enjoyed it. Just a reminder in the chat room, we've got 12 people currently in the chat room. Like that page, please. Like the video, and also click the subscribe button. Very important that you do that. Really appreciate your support. Back to you, Tom.
I was going to say, and don't forget, if there's any questions you want to ask the panel this evening, just get away in the chat room, and Stuart will be posing those questions to the panel in a bit. Now, Joe, let's come to you. Top 3 for Norway. We've already heard that we've got some competition at the top there. We've got Holla, we've got Feel. Is this matching up with what you're thinking, or are you thinking that something else is going to take that crown?
Yeah, I mean, I can't see past Moreland for the win, or potentially Kino. They both of them, I can't choose between them. They've both got form past MGP. Obviously, Moreland's gone to Eurovision before. It's a gorgeous melody, and he can sing, and it's in Norwegian. It's a lovely language, and to be honest, the more I listen to it, the more you drift off that dreamy. It's gorgeous. And then you've got Kino, and I can't see monsters. I think I must be the only person in the world that can't see monsters on this song. I see it for what it is, and it's sort of very varied. And to be honest, Tom and Alex together are great, absolutely fantastic. Love them. And I think my third favourite, I'm a little bit sort of torn, and I think maybe Henk von Hell. For an outside chance of a win. I don't know. There's so many here. There's Mr. Unicorn as well. So it's a toughie.
Okay, so we're going to find out whether Henk von Hell is going to fake it or make it. I mean, exactly. David, where do you see these entries coming? Is there any entry there that you're thinking hasn't been mentioned, and you're thinking, hang on, boom, this is going to be a surprise. This is going to be a surprise hit for Norway this year?
To be honest, I just can't see past Moreland for the win, and I do think that he'll qualify from semi-final too, and do exceptionally well if he wins.
I think you just got the hots for him, Joe. I think that's what it is.
I love him. Absolutely love him.
I think you're looking at it with blinkered eyes.
I can't see past him.
Well, I was going to say, you say it's dreamy. I reckon you're just spending the time just looking into a photograph whilst you're listening.
Daydream, and I'm not the only one. I have to say.
Yeah, he's not my type. I have to put that out there.
Oh.
David, are there any songs you can see springing a surprise in this final?
I listened to the recap of the songs, and for me, I think no one passed the Norland because it's interesting because it's in our region. It wasn't one of the good points. And second, I think the only people I think for me for me, I think the only song for me, I think, is sure get Norway through the final. I think it's Norway because I love to see Norway sing again in Norwegian because I think I kind of a little bit tired Norway sing a little bit in English.
And it would be nice, and countries do actually tend to have. I'm going to put this quite nicely. They have quite a favourable result, I think, when they go to their national language. Sometimes I'm thinking of Estonia and Ranjadad, but I've probably not pronounced that correctly. Go on, Jana, how do I pronounce it?
Rendajat.
Rendajat. Now, Martin, we've got Kino is currently the 2-1 favourite, but hot on the heels on the betting odds is Chris Medina's "We Try." He's 3-1. Is this a song you could see sneaking up on the rails for the Norwegian final?
I mean, personally, it wasn't for me. I understand why, because he's a very successful recording artist in Norway, and I think he's had platinum singles. And obviously, he was in American Idol, admittedly about 7 or 8 years ago. But yeah, I think he's probably one of the most recognisable artists there, although there are quite a few of them there. But I think, as in of the moment, that's probably why Chris Medina's got quite short odds. I mean, Kino, for me, that's my favourite. I just love, you've got Tim, Alexandra, and the Sami chap all brought together, and basically they've all been brought together just for, just now for this song. And I think that's probably the best of the lot at the moment. Moreland, I like that one as well. It's quite theatrical, and obviously he's really good at doing theatrical songs because A Monster Like Me was quite a theatrical one as well. So I can see, because if it's like last year, there'll be a silver final where you get 4 acts up against each other. I would say Kino, Moreland, and I'd probably have Ingrid and Annalisa there as well, personally. So that would be my 4. But I'd probably see the sort of shoot off between Kino and Moreland.
Now, one song we haven't actually heard anything about, 2 really. We've got D-Sound, Mr. Unicorn, and Erland Bratland, Sing For You. Nicholas, are these 2 songs that have shot up in your estimation, or are you going along with the majority?
I am mostly going along with the majority. I do like Mr. Unicorn, actually. It is one of those that I like. Also, The Bubble by Adrian. I haven't really heard anyone talk about that, but I really like that song. It's very much my style. And I think there's a lot of really great and modern songs in this selection. So I'm really looking forward to watch it. But no, I think Spirit in the Sky is the one to beat, definitely.
And do you know what? I do think there is a lot to be said for Spirit in the Sky, but I have to say, I am Hank Von Hell all the way. Take it for me, 9-1. I think that is exactly, that's the banger that Norway needs to qualify out of this semi-final. And yes, I was a fan of Wigwam in 2005. I'm just going to throw that one out there.
I was as well. I really liked them.
It was a nice song from Wigwam, but Wigwam was better.
Very, very, very similar sounding. And I think the other one as well, I do have a slight addiction to Adrian Jorgensen's The Bubble as well.
Tom, can I just say, Erland Bratland's Sing For You. Now, that out of the 10, that's the one song that I physically cannot stomach. And here's the reason why. Every time he starts to sing the chorus, it sounds like he's about to go into Robbie Williams's Feel.
Do you know
Try listening to that song now and not hearing Robbie Williams singing Feel. It will drive you potty.
It's actually, I don't know if you can see that. It is actually written in my notes there. Feel Robbie Williams.
Yeah, I find it really difficult. Also, there's a couple of interesting songwriters here. There's Alexandra Wallman from last year's Norwegian Melodi Grand Prix, not Festival, and that comes next week. And Maria Broberg, who's written the song Sweet Lies for the United Kingdom, wrote the song Holla.
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 And has the chat room got anything to say about?
Let's not forget, Senek co-wrote the song Hold Me Down from Karina Dahl.
Ah.
Yeah, what's Senek doing in Norway?
I have no idea.
Earning money to songwriter.
Now, is there anything that the chat room has to say with regards to the Norwegian entries, Stuart?
They're all in shock after we've tried to set this chap and Yerna up. I'm not quite sure that. I think they've kind of sort of recoiled back into their shells and are just watching with anticipation, Tom.
Now,
Dodds has said, "Yay, Wigwam! I love them. Still on my phone playlist." And Elliot's put Senek is on one of the songs also. Yeah, absolutely. Laura Grosjenegan, I think, or something like that. Grosjenegan.
Someone who still has Wigwam on their phone is someone after my own heart, because, like, you know, I still play that even now.
Was that really bad pronunciation there?
Oh yes. Sorry. It's actually pronounced Laura Grosjenegan.
I was close. Let's move on.
Don't forget, the Norwegians deselect their entry on the 2nd of March, I believe. Now, moving on to Portugal. Portugal have 2 semi-finals, 16th and 23rd of February. Their finals on the 2nd of March. They've got 16 songs. David, we're going to have to come to you first of all. What song would you love to see represent Portugal this year?
I have to like, but our fan contingent says loves a lot of artists going. Isaris, with cell phones. The song is good.
Yeah, and do you have any others that are in your top 2, top 3 even?
Probably, I have one song for the first semi-final, the Dilemma as well. I really like Dilemma with 2, and obviously one for me is really kind of about cider.
Cool. So let's see how your
Is NBC equal to 2? Equal to you.
The same as you in English.
Like you.
Equality.
Like you. The song by NBC is the favourite to win in Portugal.
Do you know what? My translation on that's different to yours. But do you know what, Stuart? I'm going to trust you with that.
Oh, I wouldn't trust me with translations. Go ask Yerna.
Oh,
no. Pronunciation.
Can I just make a point on Portugal? I think their 16 songs are fantastic. It's great to find a national final with such diversity. They've gone for everything from a bit of pop to a really powerful ballad to Fado, which I adore. You know, I was properly introduced to Fado overnight in Lisbon last year, and I fell in love with Lisbon. I fell in love with Fado, and I've been playing it in my car on my Spotify playlist ever since. Love Fado. I particularly love some of these songs. I'm a big fan of Telemovis, or Mobile Phones, as David suggested, by Conan Osiris, I think. Probably pronounced that wrong. The other 2 I think are fantastic is Ana Claudio with Inertia, which is just unbelievable. It's so different. It's beautiful. It's magical. It moves to up mid-tempo halfway through the song. It starts off a bit like K.D. Lang's Constant Craving, and then it builds from there. And it is just unbelievable. Well worth a listen. But my absolute favorite is the song Sjurma by Pugna. Now, it's Pugna.
How did I know, Stuart? Right, I've got my notes down here. How did I know you were going to go for a song like that?
Well, it's translated as struggle, and some would struggle to get this song and sit through the full 3 minutes. But if you can strap yourself down and listen to it, then it's an absolute treat. I'd just like to say, it never touched the stuff, but whoever wrote this was clearly sniffing something at that moment in time. It's trippy, It's art. It's arty. It's just art. It's fantastic beyond belief. It's a beautiful interpretation. And if Surma can interpret this song on stage in the way it's been produced, then I think it's going to do really well in the Portuguese final. It's life, Jim, but not as we know it. That's Surma.
Well, yeah. And is it life, but not as you know it for you, Martin, or would you go for another one at the top of your tree for Portugal?
Well, the one that Stuart's just talked about, I didn't make it through the 3 minutes, so I've basically that's not one of mine. Conan Osiris is probably my favourite. I'm pretty sure that he got a fado guitar in there, but I've got a note. It's almost Ukrainian in feel, in that how the instrumentation is all brought together, and it's just I love that song. Mate Perfettio, a great voice, great ballad. So that's probably the most that came across most as the most Portuguese type, stereotypical to somebody from the UK. And then what was the other one? And NBC as well. I thought heavy guitar sounds like it was in a Tarantino movie, and I love that one. So those are the three. There was a couple of others, but on the borderline. But those would be the three that I'd like to, possibly see one of get through. So.
Now, interesting to note that most of the songs that are in the Portuguese selection are invited by RTP, but there are two that come from other places. There is the masterclass winner, which is Mariana Brogada with Mardochi, meaning pleasant sea. And there is Felipe Kell with Hodji, which means today, who's the open call winner. Do either of these float your boat, Yerna?
Well, Felipe with his song is one of my favorites, actually. But it's really hard to make a top for the Portuguese song because they're all so good, and it's like a total different selection than last year. Because last year was like all the same for me, and this year, Felipe is one of my favorites, together with Kalima Adosh, and then together with Conan Osiris Telemovish or something. And then I also like Surma with Bubna, but I really want to see that one live because I just wonder how she's gonna do it.
It could be one of the more unique performances, I think,
Yeah.
isn't it?
I just want to hear it live and see it live, what she's gonna do with it, and if it works, then send this one. Yeah, send it to
Now,
me.
Joe, looking at all the songs here, can we see Portugal qualifying out of their semi-final?
I think if they sent Conan, MBC or Kalema, possibly yes. I think MBC especially is different. I think the great thing about Portugal is that they're always a little bit different to everywhere else. I mean, they're a lot different most of the time. And I think that's what we're looking for this year, is something that stands out, something different with all of the countries. And I certainly think for those three, the more I listen to them, the more I think, yeah, you have this different, you sound Portuguese for this reason. And I certainly think NBC, with that guitar part in it, and Kalema as well. I mean, two guys as a duet. When was the last time? We haven't had that for a little while. So yeah, I certainly think that with those three, they could potentially come out, and it would be nice for them to be in the final again.
Do you know what? And I agree with that. It would be lovely to see them in the final again. Now, we've spent a lot of time here discussing the Spanish entries and what we thought was going to win, and it didn't. We spent a lot of time discussing the Czech Republic entries and what we thought was going to win, and yeah, we didn't quite really get there with that one. Nicholas, if we're going to pick a surprise Portuguese package, what's it going to be?
Oh, it's hard. It's Very hard. I haven't had that much time to listen to the Portuguese songs, so I definitely want to give them a listen more to before I really like figure out what do I think of the songs. But I do want to say one thing about the Portuguese entries is that I really like that they're doing their own thing. I really like that RTP is not afraid to take these chances. And I mean, people can say what they want about that, but let's face it, it worked with Salvador. They sent something that was very much not like everything else that year, and that's what worked. So I think a lot of these songs, if we get a lot of like typical pop songs this year, which I think is what we're going towards, I think a lot of these songs could really stand out and possibly do really well for Portugal.
Yeah, and you know what? And I think that's something missing actually from a lot of national selections is that degree of risk. And I think Portugal are actually taking that risk.
Yeah.
They have such a wide variety of musical styles across their entire selection. For me, the three songs that really sprung out to me was Felipe Kel's Hoji, which I thought was very modern and contemporary and upbeat. Kalima Adwa, which I thought was a nice boy band duet style, which I thought was quite pleasant sounding. And I have to say, Stuart, even I sat through 3 minutes of Surma's Pugna, and I was like, do you know what? That could be the one for Portugal this year. And I could actually see it doing something along the lines of what Aminiata did for Latvia a few years ago with Love Injected, with something that was very different, but almost had that kind of familiar sounding in there as well. And I think that could be the one surprise for Portugal. I think MBC could be given quite a run for their money with that one.
I think it's a fantastic set of songs. I mean, it's nice to have a national final without standard, don't take this the wrong way, Nicholas, but Scandinavian fare, because, you know,
I get what you mean.
We've just talked about Norway, and you've got two songwriters there that have written songs in other national finals. And that's what I mean by that comment. It's not a dig at Scandinavian songwriters. They're fantastic in their own right. But this feels to me very authentic. And I love listening to the Portuguese songs. I agree with what Damn Good is saying in the chat room. You know, this is an outstanding selection of national final songs for Portugal. And the Portuguese people should be very, very proud.
I think what you mean is the whole thing with, like, it has the Portuguese vibes to it. Like when Azerbaijan buys a song from Sweden and sends that, it doesn't necessarily represent the Azerbaijani people, but these songs really represent Portugal, and that's what Eurovision can do that a lot of other places can't do. Yeah, spot on.
Absolutely. And what does the chat room say about Portugal's chances this year then, Stuart?
Well, there's a lot of love for various different songs. We've had Philippa Kale, NBC, Surma, some favourites there as well, and the Kalima, the two guys, Adjurs 222, I think that says, or 2, the duet. There's a lot of different songs. We didn't talk about João Campos. Was that pronunciation okay? João Campos. I think it probably was. That's another good performance, good song. It Is What It Is by João Campos. So lots of different songs there. Mate, a lot of love for Mate as well.
Cool. Now, Martin, let's see if we can recreate this. Okay, I'll let you go first.
Are we talking about the earlier today?
You know exactly what we're talking about.
So it would be international ESCZ fans
give their 12 points to
Barbara. Well, yeah. So it was Barbara Mokva from us, but it wasn't who won in the end.
No, but the 12 points in the end, getting that golden ticket, was Lake Malawi, with a friend of a friend.
I was going to say, you clearly know. You two clearly know what you're talking about, don't you?
Well, we had some inside knowledge on that one. But Martin, are Lake Malawi going to be looking for a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend come May?
Well, I think they might well be, because I can't see where their friends within the semi-final voting actually are. It's not a bad song. It's catchy. It's got it's listenable, and they've got fans. I mean, obviously, I think the main reason they won in Czech Republic is because of their fan base. They are quite a big deal there. They've even done festivals in the UK. So I know some sort of Eurovision fans, even the guy at ESC Tips he saw the name Lake Malawi and he thought, wow, but he was slightly disappointed with what they're singing now compared to their back catalogue. But they've obviously got fans all over the place, so you never know. There's a possibility it might get through. But Michaelis Joseph was such a good song this year in 2018 that I think he would have, it didn't matter who was from the Czech Republic. That was going to get through. That was going to do really well. It's possible. I would have still preferred my choice to have gone through, because I think her voice was amazing. And it depends how it all goes. If we get lots of pop songs, Lake Malawi is going to get a bit swamped. And ironically, somebody who's sounding like Lana Del Rey would probably stand out a mile, but we're only going to know that in May.
This is true. Now, Joe, Alistair, who comes on the panel sometimes, has described this song as one of his all-time favourite Czech Republic entries. In actual fact, I think he's gone so far as to say this is his all-time favourite. Question: is this the kiss of death for the Czech Republic's chances?
He'll live you saying that, wouldn't he? I'll be honest with you. I think it will qualify. And the only reason I think it will qualify is simply because it obviously depends on what everyone else is doing, but I think they've got enough friends there to just get them through. It's no Michaelis Joseph though, to be honest. I don't know. It's catchy. You go away, you think about it, you think, okay, I can listen to it. First semi-final. I don't know. I certainly think that Alistair will probably kill me for saying, but it possibly could be because he's saying that.
And I'm sure when Alistair's next on the panel, we'll remind him of it.
I would love him to qualify.
Can I just make a point? When he says that it's his favourite Czech Republic song of all time, does he mean out of the last one? Or does he mean out of the sort of 10 songs they've had? Because let's be frank, most of them have been absolute rubbish.
Apart from last year, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you compare it to Michaelis Joseph, that's about it. I agree with you, Joanne. He's no Michaelis Joseph, and the song is not authentic. It's not unique like Michaelis's was last year, and appealed to so many. So I think, the Czech Republic struggle, don't they? They always struggle. They qualified once before Michaelis did, and they may struggle this time as well, I think.
Yeah. Now, Nicholas, where would you position Czech Republic this time round? Are we looking, top 5? Are we looking mid-table? Are we looking scraping in, or just bottom of the pile?
I do think it could get mid-table if they do this right. I personally really like this song. This was my favorite out of the songs in their national selection. I think what they proved last year, Czech Republic, is that they can do a good staging if they want, and they can do something interesting if they want to. So I really hope that the staging will be able to elevate the song and really make it something interesting. But I do worry sometimes that Czech Republic is going to fall kind of into the same thing as Macedonia has done over the past couple of years, where they actually have some good songs, but when May comes around, they just don't really deliver. But I hope they can surprise us, because I really like the song.
Speaking of staging, Jörna, how would you like to see this staged in Tel Aviv?
The staging in Tel Aviv, I actually have no idea about it right now. But it's obviously not going to be like last year, because let's face it, that was their best entry to date for Czech Republic.
Yeah, absolutely.
but I have no idea how they have to do the staging for this one. Maybe, yeah. I actually have no idea.
Do you know what? I feel like I've totally stumped you on this question.
Yes, I'm like,
David, you've had a little bit of time to think about this. Is there any, can you see this being staged in any particular way? David, can you see it being staged in any particular way?
It's 50-50.
Oh.
I'd say it's a 50-50 day, right?
Yeah.
But for me, I think Nicholas was the best. And maybe I can say this, maybe mid-table or a squeeze in the final. But I think this will be struggling.
And do you know what, David? I have to agree with you, because I reckon Friend of a Friend could be one of those songs that we look at when the results come out in the early hours of the 19th of May, and we look at and we see, oh, it just missed out on that grand final place by literally a point or 2 points. We could alternatively be looking at it and going, they just scraped in the final. But do you know what? I think Nicholas Joseph's song was quite special for the Czech Republic, and I think for everyone else as well. I think it was a potential winner. And I don't think that of Lake Malawi, although I would love to see the Czech Republic do well and hit that grand final again in Tel Aviv come May. Now, Stuart is going to be your host on Thursday night. And Stuart, what type of fantastic show can we expect then?
Well, Tom, funny you should ask. Thursday is the return of Esti Alal, the Estonian national selection. We have semi-final one. We have the Swingers. Don't go and Google that. We have Sandra Numsalu. And we have several other bangers from Estonia. Our show will be straight after the semi-final. You're very welcome to join. Make sure you click the subscribe button on our channel and also the like button on today's show. And come and join us after the show on Thursday evening, the 31st, and discuss the qualifiers. Did the right ones get through? Were your favourites knocked out? We want to hear from you. Come and join us.
And I will be back on Saturday looking at the SD Loud semi-final too, but also, and dare I say it, slightly perhaps more anticipated, it is the first heat of the Melodi Festival this weekend.
Hello.
And I will be live straight after both shows finish. And again, with the panel of guests, looking forward to hearing your views, whether your favourites got through, whether you think that, there's some songs there that were robbed, and we'll see what we can make of it in the fallout. Now, in the meantime, you can listen to this again using TuneIn, iTunes, Spotify, and Stuart, it's always the one with S that gets me every time.
It's Stitcher. Just on that point, Dolly Style for the win in Sweden. It's going to be fire.
And Stitcher. In the meantime, check us out on Facebook, check us out on Instagram, like those pages. And finally, but by no means least, I'd like to say thank you to my guests. Thank you to David.
Thank you.
Thank you to Joe.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks to Yerna.
Yay, thank you.
Thanks to Martin.
Thank you very much. See you again.
Thanks to Nicholas.
Thank you.
And last but by no means least, thanks to my co-host, Stuart.
Thanks, Tom. Great show. See you all Thursday.
I'll see you Saturday. Stuart will see you Thursday. And that's bye for now. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh.
Bye.